Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on the digital revolution in education. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Many barriers to learning are gone and new opportunities are unlimited, all because of this digital revolution in education. There are still a few naysayers who want to turn back the clock, but for the most part, today's students are looking at a future where anything is possible. School systems and educational institutions were compelled to adopt digital technology during the pandemic and create virtual classrooms, whether they liked it or not. Nationally recognized educator Dr. Christopher Emdin says young people benefited from using digital technology as a learning tool. Dr. Emdin says those who are still reluctant to fully embrace it should think again.
Educators have to meet young people where they are, because if you don't meet them where they are, they're not going to follow you. They will literally refuse to learn from you. The old model was about how much we can make kids hate school. The new model is how much we can make everyone love learning.
The digital revolution in education is providing unlimited opportunities for both learning and teaching. For students, they can learn anywhere, anytime. Barriers and limits to knowledge and information are largely gone. For teachers, it allows them to customize their instruction to an individual student's needs. With the emergence of AI, there are even more options. Teachers are finding their own ways to implement it, says Chalkbeat New York reporter Julian Shenbero.
I think, like a lot of school districts, New York City is still figuring out how exactly it wants to incorporate AI tools into the classroom. There are a lot of different AI-powered tools out there. They do different things. There are a lot that are marketed to educators. And what I've been hearing right now from teachers across the school system is sort of, different approaches in different places.
Digital technology is native to today's students who've grown up with it in one form or another. Many schools, colleges, and universities now use Canvas software programs for instruction and grading. But Canvas Vice President Ryan Lufkin says their technology is not designed to replace teachers.
Good technology just amplifies that teacher and helps them engage in ways that they couldn't do just in a physical classroom. And so that's why, as we build our technology, it's all very teacher-centered. Our job is to make a teacher's life easier, not more difficult. And so we hope they embrace the technology and view it through that lens.
Let's take this to our amazing panel and find out what they have to say. Joining us is Ryan Lufkin. He's the Vice President of Canvas. That's a learning management system that's used by many, many students from grades K all the way through college. Ryan, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Julian Shenbero. He's a Chalkbeat New York reporter. He covers a lot of issues with the schools. We're going to get his take on a lot of these issues as well. Julian, thank you so much for being with us.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Dr. Christopher Emdin. He's a professor at the Columbia University Teachers College, the director of the Idea Lab. And yes, he's the one that founded Hip Hop Ed and the Science Bowl and all of those other methods that we've been talking about for years here on Street Soldiers. Chris, great to have you with us again.
So glad to be back with you.
Thank you so much. Chris, I want to start with you on this. You were an early proponent of bringing technology into the city school system, and especially to reach kids in under-resourced communities. Where do things stand now?
We're a very interesting space. I think during the pandemic, the entire school system sort of embraced technology. We were communicating via Zoom. We were finding ways to be creative and innovative. And now that we're in this, although not quite post-pandemic, but what I would call a post-pandemic era, what we're finding is folks are reverting back to pre-pandemic approaches. In New York City right now, which is astounding to me, there's a cell phone ban, which is like banning the most useful technological innovation of our time, a method for communication, a way for sharing lesson plans, a way for communicating, a way for accessing, a way for using ChatGPT and AI, and we're banning it. And so we're in this interesting place where we learned that technology can work, but we're still so tethered to an age-old approach to instruction that we're trying to return back to a normal that we knew was never really good. And so we're at this impasse. And my hope is that this conversation and others like it will move folks to recognize that we have to re-embrace technology, because the world beyond education is really deeply entrenched in it. And we can't go back to an age-old approach that has not been serving a really digital generation.
Ryan, in terms of the national picture, because you deal with a lot of schools, you deal with kids all the way through, tell us what you're seeing happening and why your platform is in demand by so many.
Yeah, I mean, we see, right now about 50% of college students use Canvas, about 30% of K-12 students use Canvas across North America, and we see widely varying degrees of adoption, right? And I think to Chris's point, he's spot on. This is a digitally native set of students. They've grown up with screens, and what we really need is that shift in thinking. All screen time is not created equal. We kind of take the approach that all education should be technology enhanced education, and that if we can get educators to start adopting that approach, it's much more likely to continue to engage students at a high level. I think, especially in the age of AI, teachers are feeling overwhelmed by everything that's out there, and really we need development, we need AI literacy, we need to focus on building those teachers up so they can pass that on to students.
Julian, in terms of technology in the New York City public school system, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I think when we look ahead to the coming school year, we're, very, I think, interested in seeing how all of these different technologies continue to play out in the school system. Like Chris mentioned, we are expecting to see a cell phone ban this year. There has been a lot of concern expressed by, schools Chancellor David Banks, by Governor Kathy Hochul, by some of the others who are in charge of the school systems here in the city and the state over, the potential harms of social media, the potential, phone addictions that we might see among students, and the potential disruptions in the classroom. But at the same time, we see technology having, a lot of potential and a lot of untapped potential for ways that it can be helping teachers, improving classrooms. Especially with AI, we're seeing a lot of cautious optimism from some of the educators we speak to about these tools having potential to help with lesson planning or help speed up grading, help remove a lot of the teacher burnout that we see by, giving them tools to help make these processes easier, while at the same time sort of handling some of the limitations of those programs and being wary of the potential for flaws in them as well. So I think it's a very complicated picture, and we're excited to see how things play out this year.
Stay with us. There's much more to come. In terms of the resistance to technology, what are you seeing?
I want to start with this. I can very well understand parents and teachers and superintendents who are like, what is this thing that the students are on? And I get the fear, I get the consternation, but I'm telling you this, if your babies are on it, you need to be on it too. And everything that the students are on, whatever it is that they're using, if you're there with them, you can A, learn with them, B, you can learn from them, and C, you can be there to really understand if what they're doing on the device or on the app or on the tool is something that's edifying or something that's problematic. But if you're not there at all, you can't even use your wisdom to help them to guide through it. Like my son loves Roblox. All the parents here will know what Roblox is. And for a very long time, I was like, I am not doing Roblox. I'm not playing these little games with you. But when I got on Roblox with my son, I really understood the sophistication of Roblox. And so being on the platform with him allowed me to be able to develop his sensibility in out of digital worlds. And so, resistance is futile, parents, superintendents, principals. But if you go on there with them, you will find that your presence alone will help them to use the tools in ways that are more supportive in their learning than anti-learning.
We tend to villainize tools like TikTok and Snapchat and those kinds of things, but they're teaching students how to create media, how to create videos, how to create short, engaging content. This idea that we're going to stand in front of these students and lecture for an hour and that they're going to be engaged is a thing of the past. There's tools to take digital surveys from your phone, right? They can respond to questions, and you can put that up on a chart on the screen immediately within your classroom. We just have to make sure that educators are adopting that and evolving their approach to teaching.
Well, one of the controversies in many of the school systems, especially in elementary schools and high schools, middle schools, is the use of cell phones, because they figure, okay, the cell phone is kind of like the demon. And if it's there, the kids are going to be like this the whole time. They're going to be texting each other. They're going to be on social media. Who knows what else? And then New York City considering the cell phone ban or whatever. Julian, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting issue, and it's one that we've seen a lot of movement on this year. If you go back to the start of the year, schools Chancellor David Banks, who, is in charge of the school system here in New York City, he was asked about whether or not he thought the city should adopt a cell phone ban, which, it used to have a cell phone ban in the past, which was later removed. And, at the time, he didn't think that was something that was needed for the school system as a whole. And so the system that was in place and is still in place for now is that every school can kind of determine its own policy and decide whether or not it wants to allow cell phones within the classroom. classroom. But over the course of several months, we saw him having communication with principals, with educators, and finding out that they were overwhelmingly calling for, a ban to be in place, some kind of guiding policy for the city. So he changed his mind about that, and now we're expecting one to roll out in February next year. But these policies can have some potential problems attached to them. They can be really hard to implement. It can be difficult if a school is going to collect all the cell phones at the start of the day, or put them into these pouches that lock the phones away during the course of the day. Those things can be time intensive. They can also take away from learning, and sometimes students find ways to bypass them. And so it's a complicated issue. We know parents also feel mixed things about this. Some of them want to be able to know that they can reach their kid during the school day if there's an emergency, no matter what.
I love what Julian is saying here. He's spot on. Listen, the first time I ever knew what a proxy server was from my 9th grade students, and I had no idea what it was. The internet was a new thing. There was a ban on websites in New York City public schools. We'd have these little laptop carts, and there were these websites that kids couldn't go on. And I noticed this kid on YouTube, and I was like, how are you on YouTube? YouTube is banned in all of New York City public schools. How are you on here? And he said, yo, Dr. E, do you know what a proxy server is? I was like, I don't know what that is. He said, yo, it's a website that you go on, and you could go on that website, and then it can go to another website, and you can find, and so they're gonna spend their time subverting what you ban.
Yep.
And the energy that's spent in subverting what you ban is energy that could be spent in utilizing that tool to support their learning. That's number one. And number two, you cannot have unimodal instruction for multimodal students. They actually are going to be bored by the fact that they're not being intellectually stimulated.
Yeah, you're going to be handing them a different device that you then have to pay for as a district, as a state. You now have to replace their device with a device. That bring your own device debate has already been put to bed in higher education, and it's still raging in the K-12 space. But the cost to schools is astronomical to replace what they already are carrying around, right?
Canvas is, it's it's not a commercial for Canvas. I just met you for the first time today. Just be clear. But if you go into any university campus, over 90% is using Canvas.
Yep.
The readings are on there, the syllabus is on there, et cetera. And so when you graduate from high school and you go into college, there's an expectation that you have a familiarity with that tool already.
Yep.
Right. And if we're banning it and you're going to college, now you're creating a new learning curve for these babies. You teach them to use the tools, not ban it, and then they get to higher education and I have to learn to use it for the very first time.
Yeah.
And Ryan, explain for people what Canvas is actually.
Essentially, Canvas creates a digital classroom for every course where they can put their syllabus, all of their assignments, they can submit homework, they can get feedback from their educators on their assignments. And they also, it's an open platform so that you can plug in third-party LTI tools, or what they're called, but they're third-party learning tools that plug right into Canvas. So when your student logs into Canvas, there's a math interactive tool, there's a reading interactive tool, there's all of these different tools that a teacher can create this compelling user experience. And if they're leveraging that, again, sitting in a classroom staring at a chalkboard or a whiteboard, to Chris's point, is not engaging. This is not how these students learn. They're used to learning on YouTube and micro bursts. They're used to learning on TikTok, right? They're used to these tools, and if you're putting them in a analog classroom, they're just not going to learn. They're not going to respond to that.
Ryan, in terms of the technology that you're using and the ability to have all of these things all in one place, so it's not that big, heavy book bag, or I left my book at my dad's house because it was his weekend last weekend, and now I'm at my mom's house this weekend. Speak to us about that.
Yeah, my kids blame me for the fact that we no longer have snow days here in Utah, right? During the winter, they're digital learning days, and with increased climate change, there is more disruption, right? We're seeing that frequently. We see, if there's a resurgence in the pandemic or things like that, we see disruption, and technology allows for adopted properly and deeply, allows for a seamless piece there. Because I think there's a kind of a false dichotomy that it's either analog, in person, or online. And really, it's that blended hybrid approach that is the right approach that meets the needs of most students.
But now there's it's so easy to copy things, which Julian has been one of the big concerns about AI, ChatGPT. It's like, how do you really know that the kid has learned something or that they're using it? What do you see as the benefits for students in the New York City public school system with AI?
This is something that we saw when ChatGPT was first unveiled, when these AI-powered chatbots started becoming more and more prevalent, that was the big concern was, these are going to be a tool that can be used by students for cheating, for plagiarism, to bypass learning and bypass, the whole educational process. And there was a lot of fear over that. And that's what led the school system to initially prohibit it on school networks. But I think there's been an awareness on the side of educators and on the side even of students in conversations that I've had with, high school students who have been experimenting with ChatGPT and other tools like this, is that, these tools are speaking to a need to adapt the classroom environment and adapt the learning process so that you're not creating assignments that can be solved by putting the prompt into something like ChatGPT and spitting the answer back out. And so, I've seen an awareness from teachers here in New York City already of, okay, if these tools are out there, students will always look for ways to bypass some amount of work and look for ways to potentially take shortcuts. But, the fact that these tools now exist means that we need to be adapting assignments and lesson plans so that, they are responsible for critical thinking. They are making sure that the responses aren't something that they can just kind of plug into a chatbot and get an answer, copy and paste that into the assignment.
People want a shortcut because they don't see the beauty in going the long way.
Yeah.
If the assignment is this and then I plug in, that's great. And then also, one of the things that I've been working on with my young people that I do research with is prompt pedagogy.
Yes.
Which is teaching kids.
What does that mean?
So pedagogy is the science of teaching and learning. If you interact with an AI bot, usually what you do is you put a prompt in. So it's about the question that you ask the AI that gives you the response that you get. So we're teaching young folks how to be able to ask the appropriate questions to the tool to get more sophisticated answers. And so we need a teaching force that's actually teaching kids how to be able to utilize the tools in a way that allows for more sophisticated thinking and thought.
Ryan, when you look ahead, what would you like to see in an ideal situation or scenario from K through the end of 4 years of college for kids?
We tend to be our own biggest critics in the United States, in New York, right? And we really worry about how we stand in regards to education across the globe. I'll tell you right now, I travel all over the globe, and the United States sets the gold standard for education, right? There's things we can improve on STEM. There's things that we can focus more on and make sure that we're teaching civics and AI literacy and things like that. But we really do set the gold standard. And when we talk about improvements, we understand that we want to make the best better. One of the things that we didn't talk about around AI is the digital divide. Chris hit on it briefly, but when we look at the AI tools that are out there, the free tools tend to be the older versions, right? They're the tools that are trained on billions, not trillions of data points, right? We pay for those more advanced versions. And one of the things I think we're very cognizant of in the ed tech space is making sure we don't open a digital divide where only students that can pay for these solutions, only the wealthiest districts, only the wealthiest universities will have the best tools. We want to make sure that these are accessible to everyone at every level.
Julian, in terms of the New York City schools, the school population in New York is extremely diverse, people from all over the world. What do you see the technology doing in terms of making everybody, have a chance?
I think right now there is, I think I mentioned the term before, cautious optimism. There's a lot from teachers in terms of, seeing these tools as something that can potentially be very beneficial for the classroom. I think at the same time, there are concerns about the potential pitfalls of something like AI. These technologies are very new. They're still developing every single day. And we haven't seen all of the rollouts of these tools be successful. We've seen school districts across the country where they have failed and they have introduced problems with student privacy and student data, where they have introduced potential biases, potentially have taught students incorrect things. And so I think that what we're looking for here in New York City over the course of this coming year and school years beyond it as well is to see how teachers and the school system and those in charge of it as a whole are managing all of those things.
Dr. Chris Emden, in terms of for families, for parents, and I'm sure you hear it too, parents will say, oh, I don't know how to do all that stuff on the computer, or I don't mess with that, or I don't want to deal with that. What do you say to them?
So one of my favorite quotes that it always sticks with me is by this gentleman named Alan Toffler. And he says, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And it's a poignant point because whether you're talking about technology or the lack thereof, we're utilizing technology to teach young people how to learn, which is how to be able to see something, gain information from it, process it, make meaning of it, And then once that's happened, oh, wait, here's new information. I'm going to unlearn what I just learned, and I'm going to use the new information to relearn a new approach. And so that is not just for young people, that's for everyone.
Love that.
I tell parents all the time, you never learned it. That's not your fault. But guess what? Every human being has the capacity to try, to attempt, and then learn it.
Right.
And then you can unlearn your old way, and then you can relearn it. If we don't evolve as a society, we're archaic.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on the digital revolution in education. You can watch it again and share it on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page and the Fox Local app. Remember, use your mind, it's your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.